Dwayne Pretorius surprised the world of cricket when, out of nowhere, he chose to announce his international retirement. Now, 33 is normally not an age where a lot of cricketers retire, especially a cricketer who in only in recent years had really begun to come into his or her own when it comes to their overall form, especially for an all-rounder where good form with bat and ball is always something that's really looked at. Pretorius in recent years had developed a reputation as being one of the finer all-rounders in the shortest formats of the game. However, as things stand, he has now chosen to walk away from international cricket. The reason being his wanting to focus on T20 league cricket and becoming, in his words, the best shortest format cricketer in the world. Now, obviously that raises a lot of questions as to why it is that he would then choose to walk away from international cricket, but could there be motives deeper than that? There most likely are, and as we are going to analyze in this video, there are just simply more benefits to be had by leaving international cricket behind and joining franchise T20 leagues. Now, let's quickly go over what exactly was said first, and then we'll delve deeper into the reasoning behind why it is that Pretorius has chosen to take this decision. Now, Pretorius, in his very long statement, and believe you me when I say it was a long statement, he thanked literally everyone who he possibly could think of, and then probably some more. He simply said, being a free agent will help me achieve the goal of being the best short format player I can be. By doing this, I will be able to have a better balance in my career and my family life. Now, to be fair, this isn't a new line that has been put out by many players who have chosen to retire and focus simply on league cricket. Their statement is that we want to be able to spend more time with our family, pick and choose when it is we play, and truth be told, that's really fair enough. But it has actually started a rather worrying trend in recent times, and we're going to delve into that in just a bit. But first, let's take a look at how it is that Pretorius will be spending his time after having announced his international retirement. Now, the SA20, which is of course the Cricket South Africa's inaugural or the newest edition of their latest T20 league, will be starting from Jan 10th and will go on till the middle of February. Thereafter, he will have the IPL to play, where he's of course part of the Chennai Super Kings. And then later on in August, he is scheduled to be part of the 100. Now, obviously, there could very well be more things that come up thereafter, but as things stand, Pretorius is set to have a pretty busy time. Now, obviously, Jan, Feb, there's a month's gap here, then May, then there's a couple of months gap here. So you can understand why exactly it is he says that this will give me a better balance and help me spend more time with family, because these sort of gaps in the cricket calendar don't normally exist if you are playing international cricket. Right now, with franchise cricket being modeled the way it is, with one competition generally speaking trying to avoid competing with the other, so they all tend to schedule it in their own respective windows, and therefore you'll see a lot of these leagues take place through the year. But even then, there's more of a gap than there would be with international cricket. That is why, as I said, the benefits of playing these leagues is pretty evident at this point, and that's why you could argue that Pretorius has chosen to take an early international retirement and focus on these leagues. For one, these leagues are much shorter in duration than any average, the home legs of a particular country, or being able to be on the road for multiple international series. The duration for a league is, generally speaking, anywhere between a month and a half to 2 months at most, and it's consistent competitive cricket. Beyond that, of course, is the obvious monetary factor. You get a lot more money playing league cricket around the world in these franchise leagues than you would be getting from a central contract. More importantly is that players can generally pick and choose where exactly it is they want to play. There's no, sort of a compulsion for them to have to sign up for every league ever. They'll simply sign up for the ones where they think they can make more, whether it be in the player auction or player drafts, or by getting a marquee salary. Something of the sort is there, which can actually give them that advantage, the leverage which they don't have if you're a centrally contracted player. Unless you're injured, you will most likely be playing for your country. More importantly is the fact that it will of course prolong their career, and thus therefore their ability to earn money. You have to remember at the end of the day that athletes are very much professionals as well. They're doing the sport, yes, because they love it, but also because they want to be making a living off of it. And playing in more domestic T20 leagues will of course prolong your career, because you won't have the same grind that you would if you're an international player. And truth be told, this is something a lot of players in recent times have realized. Don't forget, it was only very recently that these three Kiwi players, New Zealand players, were released from their central contracts. In fact, in the case of Colin de Grandhomme, he chose to take international retirement rather than get released from his contract, whereas Trent Boult and Jimmy Neesham both requested that they be let out of their New Zealand central contracts. They opted not to renew them so that they could be available more often for franchise cricket. Now, as I said, this is of course something that is an easy decision to make because you can pick and choose, you can make more money, but it does also signal a shift away from prioritizing international cricket, especially with the calendars being as packed as they are. Yes, money is of course a key factor why a lot of these players are taking these decisions, but it is also worth noting that it does tend to give you a better work-life balance, and a lot of these players would be wanting to spend more time at home or with their families, and being part of these leagues actually gives them the chance of doing just that. They don't just have to be focused on playing international cricket throughout the year and then resetting for a little bit. They can pick and choose and say, okay, we're going to play in this league, we'll get more money, and we may actually not get as much money in another one, so let's just skip it out. It's better being a freelance cricketer in these cases than it is being a contracted cricketer, especially for boards like say New Zealand, South Africa, which don't pay a lot, and that is why you're seeing many New Zealanders take it. And there is of course a worry that most South Africans could follow in the footsteps of this man, Dwayne Pretorius. Now, previously, all of you would remember that for Cricket South Africa, the biggest existential crisis was seen as Kolpak deals, which of course South African players would take for English counties and then choose to walk away from their central contracts. With that loophole having now been closed thanks to Brexit, there is, however, a new one that players like Pretorius are only too keen to exploit, and that is by taking retirement or opting out of their central contracts with Cricket South Africa and choosing instead to be a player who represents multiple teams in multiple cricket leagues. It is, of course, unfair to international cricket, you can say, but the international grind has become so much that more and more players are opting to take the quote-unquote easier route and make more money whilst their bodies are still able to produce excellent level performances. And truth be told, there isn't as much of an outcry over these as there would have been maybe 15-20 years back. So maybe, just maybe, even cricket fans and the cricket public in general are waking up to the reality that franchise league cricket is here to stay and may very well be changing the way that the game is played forever. But that's just how I feel about all of this. What do you guys think? Well, you can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that bell icon so you know when it is we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can also go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and last but not the least, don't forget to download the AajTak app. Thank you all once again for joining us in this video. I hope to see you again on another video, but for now, goodbye.